Hello, good morning. How are you? Welcome to a new class. Welcome to a new program. Welcome to a new opportunity for you to continue improving your English. That's the idea. 1,192 times I've been here with you. And before I started doing this program in 2018, from 2006, I've been on TV teaching English. I've been teaching people English forever. Yes, and I still enjoy it. I still insist on the same philosophy. Remember, the only true priority, real priority, is listening comprehension. You must understand, and that's very difficult to achieve. I can't teach you to understand better. No teacher can teach you to understand better. You have to develop that ability. And that ability is to understand English that you already know, because 90% of everything we say is basic. However, your ear is not catching the sounds. Your ear is not discriminating the sounds. If I show you in writing what you don't understand in reality, you will understand. Está claro, no lo he entendido para nada en boca de esa persona o de esa mujer. It's because the difference between understanding on paper or understanding me as an English teacher is very different than understanding in real life. People don't speak like I'm speaking now. When I speak to you now, I'm speaking in such a way to expose you to the structure of the language for you to assimilate it to speak better. But the key to success in communication is understanding perfectly. If you're an intelligent person and you know your subject, you're prepared, and you understand perfectly, then you're in a position to be perfectly effective with imperfect speech. If you have a C2 listening comprehension level, nivel C2 auditivo, if you have a C2 listening comprehension level, you can conquer the world with a B2 spoken level. Remember this. You'll never speak English perfectly, never. But it's imperative to understand perfectly. I don't speak English perfectly. I have my eloquent days and my less eloquent moments in which I don't express myself as well as I would like to. But I understand perfectly, except for people in Glasgow or in Manchester sometimes. But in any case, listening comprehension is everything. And remember this, listening comprehension is everything. If you don't have this, you're deaf mute. Si no tienes esto, eres un sordomudo. Y los sordomudos no son mudos, tienen las cuerdas vocales en perfectas condiciones, pero no las pueden utilizar porque no oyen. Todo empieza aquí. Everything starts there. Don't be a deaf mute in English. All right. To look up, to look at. I'm looking at you. Yeah. I'm looking for my pen. I'm looking for. Of course. Eso es fácil. Mirar y buscar. I'm looking for a new job. Marta's looking for a new job because we're finishing this program. Program 1,200. We will be unemployed. What are we going to do? What am I going to do? ¿Qué voy a hacer yo ahora? What am I going to do? Sit at home and twiddle my thumbs. Se dice esto, twiddle, doble D, twiddle, T-W. I'm going to twiddle my thumbs. ¿Se hace esto aquí también a veces? ¿Sí? My grandmother, my paternal grandmother, twiddled her thumbs a lot. And now, in This is program 1193. In 7 programs, me toca a mí. It's going to be my turn to twiddle my thumbs. ¿Y ahora qué hago? Now what can I do? Yeah, maybe it's time for me to go out to pasture. To go out to pasture. Pastures, los pastizales, o sea, los prados, las praderas, donde pastan las vacas. It's the pastures donde iré yo. Como los caballos sementales ya retirados, jubilados, ya los mandan ahí. Yes, I'll twiddle my thumbs and reminisce. Reminisce is rememorar. Yeah, my moments with Marta, my moments with other people, my moments with teaching, and I'll be twiddling my thumbs. But Marta's young. Yeah, she has a lot of years ahead of her. And so she'll continue here with other people, probably not with me. All right? But in any case, it's been a pleasure. But I haven't finished yet, so look for. I'll say, mira, buscar. I'm looking at you. You're looking at me. Yes? And maybe I will start looking for new opportunities after I finish this program. Who knows? To look for. To look up. To look up es buscar en un listín, en un diccionario. A ver. To look up. ¡Pam! No es que no lo he perdido, no está perdido. No, I'm not looking for it. Si busco una palabra del diccionario, no es una palabra perdida. I'm not looking for it. It's not lost. I'm looking it up. I'm looking up the word. I'm looking the word up. Yeah. Reluctante. Reluctante. Yeah, that word exists in Spanish. No, it doesn't exist. Look it up. Look up reluctante. Or look reluctante up. No, that doesn't work, is it? Hey, yeah, you're right. It exists. Yes. It comes from Latin. Reluctant. Reluctant. Of course, you don't use it in Spanish. However, it exists in Spanish, and it comes from Latin. Now, in English, yes, reluctant is very common. Reluctant is dudoso o reacio a hacer algo. I'm reluctant. But nevertheless, that's to look up. Look it up, look it up, look it up, look it up, look it up. Búscala. El número de teléfono de Marta está aquí en la página. A ver, lo busco. I'm looking up her telephone number. In the telephone book. Ya no hacen telephone books. In the telephone book. It's interesting, when I came, no sé si te acuerdas, or in Seville. When I came to Spain in 1972, and then when I returned in 1974, there were 3 types of telephone books. The white pages, páginas blancas, which means in alphabetical order. Páginas amarillas, of course, which is businesses and professions, etc. Y las páginas azules. Guía de calles, ¿te acuerdas? You remember that. And you could go to, the calle, I don't know, any you could go to Calle Orense, and you could see the names of the people and where they lived. It was very open. Now with the internet, everybody is, worried about, their security. With the Guía de Calles, you had everything. You had everything. Yes. Calle Sidra con ese. O Calle Sidra. Hay dos. Una Calle Sidra con ese. Y una Calle Sidra con C. All right. But that's to look up. Look it up. Look it up. Look it up. Look me up. También se dice, oye, si vuelves a Madrid algún día, búscame. Y te llevaré por la ciudad. If you come back to Madrid, look me up. No se dice look for me, porque no estoy perdido. Look me up. Look me up. And I'll take you on a tour of the city. The Cook's tour, the best tour in the world. I'll take you on a tour. Look me up. Look me up. To look over. I'm looking over. Look over. Este libro. You wrote it yourself? Yeah. I'm looking it over. Yeah. I'm looking it over, which is a very superficial verification, a very superficial, to look it over. Look it over. Look it over. To go over something is line by line. But to look over something is general. I like it. Yeah, I like it. Yes. Esto pasó hace 3,000 años. Bueno, 3,500. It was 3,000 in ancient Egypt. Egipto antiguo. And there was a scribe, un escriba, a scribe. And he was young, and he was going to write the history of Egypt. And then you see a picture of him 10 years later. He's still writing, with pergaminos hasta aquí, and he's writing more and more. And then you see him with white hair and a white beard. He's very old, and he's writing. Finally, he finishes. And he has 10,000 parchments, pergamino here, yeah, of the history of Egypt. And he takes it to the palace of the Pharaoh, Faraón. And the Pharaoh, I like it. I want 10,000 copies. Give me copias. But the scribe had a photocopy machine. So he could continue making these things. I like that. So the Pharaoh looked it over. To look up, to look down. To look up puede ser físicamente. Mira hacia arriba, mira. To look down. To look down on is menospreciar o hasta despreciar. Look down. To look down on somebody. I look down on him. Le tengo un poco aprecio. Okay. No hay mayor desprecio, no hacer aprecio. Es un dicho vuestro. All right. To look down on somebody is to mirarle por encima del hombro. To look down your nose at somebody. Mirar por encima del hombro, which is a very good expression in Spanish. We have a similar expression, to look down your nose at. Mira a alguien bajando el tabique de la nariz. That means estás muy por encima del bien y del mal. Muy altivo. I'm looking down. Marta, yes, Marta. I'm looking down my nose at Marta. Yo estoy mirándole por encima del hombro. And things. Look down on her is despreciar. To look down my nose at her is mirarle por encima del hombro, which is very similar. All right, to look down on, to look away. Oh, I wish I was in the land of cotton. Old times there are not forgotten. Look away, look away, look away, Dixieland. Look away. Yes, yes. Bale of hay, make a wish and look away. Bale of hay, make a wish and look away. Hay is heno, el heno para las vacas, okay. Bale is una bala, una paca, no? Paca de heno. And in the United States, when I was a little boy, it was common to see some trucks carrying a lot of hay on a big truck. And my mother always said, bale of hay, make a wish and look away. And it's paca de heno, pido un deseo y mirar en dirección contraria. Look away. Bale of hay, make a wish and look away. And one time, when I was a little boy, maybe 5 years old, I said, bale of hay, make a wish and fade away. And my mother said, fade away? No, look away. Because fade away, escrito fade away es ir difuminándose. Y vete difuminando. Oh, desfumando, okay. Something that's fade away. Fade, tú conoces fade, In technical terms, you have the fade and things. Fade away. To look away. to look in another direction, look away, etc. Okay, my life. Because I'm with Vaughan World, I'm character number 17 in Vaughan World. I spent 2 years in Dallas, Texas. I like Dallas. I was 19, well, when I got to Dallas, to the university, Southern Methodist University, I was 18. But 2 months later, I turned 19. And I did 2 years there. I was a good student, except in the first semester. But in the second semester, I saw a bulletin board that said, un año académico en España, an academic year in Madrid. And I said, cool, I'm going. But I asked permission. Of course, I asked my parents. And my parents always said yes. I don't know why, but my parents perceived that I was a very independent person. And a very independent person and a responsible person. So my parents realized that their son, me, was pathologically independent, but at the same time responsible. And so they said yes. I don't know how much it cost, but they said yes. So I came to Spain in 1972. I first flew to New York, met other students and professors from the program from Southern Methodist University, and we crossed the Atlantic to Paris. We spent 5 days in Paris, and it was interesting. In the Tuileries, las Tullerías, creo que se dice en español, the Tuileries. Have you ever been to Paris? No, no he estado nunca en París. Oh, okay. In London? Rome? Okay, she's been to Rome. Athens, Atenas? No. Lisbon? Lisboa? Yes. Okay, she's been to Lisbon and to Rome. You need to go to Paris. You need to go to London. New York? No? All right. Yeah. Corpus Christi, Texas? No? Okay. I've been to 34 countries. I've been to everywhere. But except Argentina, no. Australia, no. And Japan, no. Those are my 3 countries I need to visit. But we went to Paris, and for 5 days we were in Paris. And one morning or afternoon, I was with another friend, a student, and I ran into Shelley Aberson in Paris. Shelley Aberson was my girlfriend when I was 14. Yeah. 14, tenía una novieta in Tulsa, Oklahoma. And in Paris, I ran into her in Paris, and I was 20 years old, not 14. Now, Shelley Aberson dumped me. To dump es como ir a un vertedero y echar escombros. O sea, me dejó when I was 14. And she left me, or she dumped me, because David James, another boy, had a motorcycle. And I didn't. So I lost my girlfriend because I didn't have a motorcycle. 6 years later, by coincidence, boom, I run into her in the Tuileries Gardens, in the Tuileries of Paris. And she was very ugly, muy desmejorada. Yeah. All right. So that means venganza, my revenge and things with Shelley Aberson. I fell into a depression. To fall into, caí, se dice caer en una depresión también aquí, el concepto de caer. I fell into a depression for one day. I remember one day, un domingo, Sunday. But the following Monday, no problem. I was surprised. I said, oh, I feel fine. Okay, all right. So for me, my depressions last very short times, very, very short periods of time. But in any case, We went to Paris for 5 days, then we took a night train to Barcelona. Yes, from Paris to Barcelona. And it was the old trains with compartments and a pasillo, compartments and a hall and a corridor, and then the windows, of course. And as we entered Badalona first, I was standing, it was in the morning, maybe 10 o'clock in the morning, 11 o'clock in the morning, and I was standing looking out, and I saw hundreds of buildings under construction. I saw probably 50 tower cranes. I saw probably 50 tower cranes. Escrito crane. Crane is grúa. Crane, escrito. Crane. Tower crane, grúa torre, para la construcción. You know, these tower cranes that look like this, you know? All right, tower cranes. I saw probably 50 tower cranes on the skyline of Badalona. And on the top of every building, it said, "Been to the pisos, been to the pisos, been to the pisos." This is 1972, the final years of the Spanish boom, before the oil embargo and the recession. "Been to the pisos, been to the pisos." And I say, "Been to the pisos? ¿Qué significa eso? What does been to the pisos mean?" Venta means sale. Okay, ya lo tengo, ya lo sabía, sale. Pero piso, in Oklahoma, when I was studying Spanish, piso era el suelo. No un apartamento. And I said, ¿por qué venden suelos? Tantos suelos. So that was my first introduction to Castilian Spanish, etc. So, but we stayed in 2 weeks in Barcelona. It was fun. I had a good time in Barcelona. You know, Montjuïc, Tibidabo, the Ramblas, of course, the port, the Paseo de Gracia, all of these things, and the Barrio Gótico. It's very nice. We had a good time. And we visited Sitges. We visited, I can't remember the name. Well, Montjuïc. No, Montjuïc, no. We visited, Montjuïc, yes, Montserrat, the monastery, and many other places. Peñíscola in Castellón, and the Penedès. All right, where they make the wine. It was very nice. And then finally we came to Madrid. And we arrived in Madrid probably the last week of August, 1972. So my first contact with this city where I live now, of Madrid, was in 1972, August. And we went, the bus took us to the Colegio Mayor José Antonio. Typical. This was during the Franco regime. All right. La Gran Via was, the name of the Gran Via was Avenida José Antonio. And the Cuesta San Vicente was Onésimo Redondo. And Santa Engracia was Joaquín García Morato. And Príncipe Vergara was Avenida del General Mola. Okay, very typical. And they took us to Colegio Mayor José Antonio, which today is a Centro Administrativo La Complutense. I mean, it's where. And we stayed there for 2 weeks. I remember those 2 weeks. I had a good time. And it was coeducational, which means there were, on one wing, un ala y otra ala. So one wing, there were girls, female students, and the other, male students. However, the cafeteria, the lunchroom was common. So there were boys and girls. And I remember in the mornings having a coffee, the girls were always sleepy, like this, with their eyes closed. And they were stirring their coffee for 1 minute, 2 minutes, just stirring their café con leche, their coffee with milk. Stirring. Stirring is remover, stir. Stirring their coffee. And I noticed something. I noticed they stir their coffee clockwise. Como las agujas del reloj. Me, I stir my coffee counterclockwise. Más agresivo. Like this, and not like this. Ooh. Against the concave of this. And so I do it like that. And I notice that people in Spain stir the coffee the opposite way in America. But you see, I've never paid attention in the United States to how people stir coffee. Maybe they stir it the same. How do you stir your coffee? See? Yep, she stirs it backwards. Al revés. Lo haces todo al revés. She does it backwards. I stir my coffee like this. But in any case, I remember these little details about my life before coming to Spain, living here in Spain, thousands and thousands of little details. But I don't have time to tell you more today. Maybe tomorrow, or maybe the day after tomorrow. Who knows? Take care.